All right, good afternoon, traders. Today is May 23rd, 2025. My name is John Carignan. I'm the lead instructor here at the BYOB Trading Room. Hey, I want to thank all my subscribers for subscribing to the BYOB Trading Room. I don't take that for granted. I try to provide valuable content every day. Thank you so much. I want to thank everybody out there in digital land, podcast land. All right. I appreciate your subscriptions. Appreciate the kind words. Thank you so much. Hey, all right. Let's go. How I made 10K. Let's go take a look at that. Let's take a look at some charts today. All right. First, we can take a look at the profit structure. Okay. So, not a bad day. All right. So, you can see 72. I closed out my gold calls. Made 72 on those. Closed out some 610 calls. Actually, didn't close them out. I'm still holding on to some. All right, so I got some 610, 14 days till expiration calls. I had to double down and take, again, is one of those days where I bought lower and sold higher, but I'm under my cost basis, so it came in as a negative. Made 1,052 on these 595 calls. Made 26K on these 580 puts. All right. Made a lot of those came from this morning. A lot of that was price gapping down. All right. That's where a lot of those profits came from. That seems like astronomical, and it would seem that way, but due to the market gapping down, and able to exit a lot of those puts right at the beginning of the day when price gapped down and then started to melt up. I had some calls. I had a ton of calls, and I lost some money on the calls on those. Okay, because well, of course, if market gaps down, those calls are going to go way underwater. So, excuse me. So I had to take a hit on those. It's fine with it because I kind of covered it with the puts. On the 590 calls, played some 5 DTE 590 calls, made 770 on those. Did some zeros after lunchtime. Okay, on 583 calls, made about 10K there. Some 585 calls, I was doing all three at the same time, made about 4,500 there, and some 584 calls. 3,200 there. All right, so you can see price action, and we can go over those zero DTEs. You can see them. Here's the first one. This is the 584. All right, you can see where price was buying the dip here, hitting those highs on those zeros. Notice it happened after lunch. Here's noon. You can see this is when I got started on those zero DTEs. Here's the next one, 585. Again, after lunch, started getting those and into these pops up here to go up higher. All right, so there's 585 calls, and then here's the 583s. Kind of catch the bottom here and then sell off into those little pops. See those wicks? Okay, that's where I sold off into those. All right, so managed to capture. Those are the 583 calls. These are the 585. These are all zero DTEs, and these are the 584s. All right, so I traded those. And then here's the puts. You can see on the puts. All right, I had to sell my puts at the beginning of the day. That's where I made a lot of my profits, was on those puts at the beginning of the day. That was it, at the beginning of the day. All right, so there's puts on those right there. And let's see what else we got here. That was, I'm still holding some of those puts right now. Yeah, let me make sure I got those on there. Yeah, those are on there. Okay, yeah. Oh, I got, here they are. Oh, it's coming in as a loss now. It was a positive, now it's showing up as a loss. Anyways, I had some 570 puts, traded those as well, and you can see here we are. We traded those. I thought I closed those out as a positive, and I guess when I refreshed it, everything went as a negative. So I still got some of those puts right there. Okay, so that still, I lost $358 on those puts and had a heck of a comeback with those because I was down like $4,000. And it came from just buying the dip right here. As you can see, his price rolling over back to VWAP. See how price continually comes back to check VWAP. All right, enough about the profits there. All right, let's go ahead and close this out right here. Let's move this down. Let's take a look at the 10-minute chart for SPY. Got a 10-minute downtrend coming into the close. All right, so 10-minute downtrend coming into the close. By the way, everybody, we have a 3-day weekend. Okay, we're not going to be open on Monday. So when I come back on Tuesday, I'll probably talk about Monday. And I'll really mean I'm talking about Friday. Okay, so here's 2-hour chart. Excuse me, 2-hour downtrend. Still intact here. That's a 2-hour. See the 3 EMA underneath the white 8 EMA. So 2-hour downtrend into the close. On the daily chart, I'm just going to pick up a clean one right here. Okay, so you can see we got a bearish cross. So you can see price action is a lower high and a lower low. We closed under a bearish cross, but we rallied up over the rising 17. Okay, so it's kind of anybody's game. It looked to me like the bears got more control than the bulls did. Okay, I'm just saying. All right, that's what it looks like to me. But I think the reason it's like that is because they included some of the pre-market on this. Let's see what happens if I go to a different one. If it looks the same way. Okay, see now, see how it changes when I don't have the pre-market on? It's a different candle. It starts out here and moves up. But if I put the pre-market on, it's a red candle that comes down. All right, without the pre-market, it's a green candle that gapped down and came back, tried to fill the gap. Okay, so a little funky business going on right there. But now you know why it's different if it looks different from your chart. Anyways, all right, lower high, lower low, closing over the rising 17. Look at it with the quad lines on here. Okay, so you can see price action is still in the upper third. That's bullish. Making higher lows and higher highs. That's still bullish up there. Okay, still trying to respect the uptrend line. Notice they're closing over the uptrend line. They're closing over the all-time high anchored VWAP. They're closing in the upper third, so that's bullish. They did not fill gap. Okay, but on the reverse side, they didn't fill the bearish gap. Okay, so the bears weren't strong enough to fill the bullish gap. Excuse me, the bears weren't strong enough to fill the bullish gap. All right, but that's a huge gap. It's like a $20 gap. All right, and then the bulls were not strong enough to fill the bearish gap today. Okay, so we had a bearish gap down. If we look at this on the 15. All right, you'll see here's the gap down that we had this morning. Okay, so we came all the way down here, opened up down here. Okay, so notice this would have been gap fill. All right, so we've got a little bit of consolidation under prior consolidation. On top of that, we got, excuse me, a bearish gap that didn't get filled by the bulls. Let me just say, they put up a good fight. The bulls did. All right. To deal with all that news and all that negative sentiment and still push it all the way back up to 580. That was pretty good. So we'll see where it goes tomorrow, okay? Excuse me, Tuesday, all right? So there's SPY. You can see bearish gap down that didn't get filled by the bulls, all right? So I'm still, until that gap gets filled, I'm still going to have a bearish sentiment. All right, so I think there's a good chance they're coming all the way down here to this consolidation right through all of this. I think they want to tackle that consolidation right through there. Maybe even do the gap fill and then I think they J-hook out of there. I'd like to see them J-hook out of there. Now, whether they get back over this uptrend line on the J-hook, I don't know. All right? We'll see. I mean, anything could happen. Could be a tweet and we wind up right here making all brand new all-time highs. Could be a bill passes, a big beautiful bill, and then we're down here. Who knows what it's going to be? All right? Things have been very rocky and shaky this year. All right? Ever since the new administration's been in there. We're looking for certainty. We're not getting it yet. Maybe it's coming, but he's got some work to do. Give him some time to get his work done, all right? He's got some negotiations and some people to talk to before we can really get any certainty. So he's got a plan. He's working his plan. We got our trading plan. We're working our trading plan. Well, he's doing the same thing, okay? So there we are. So here's SPY. Looking for it to come all the way back. This is the all-time high anchored VWAP. Is possible. It's very possible we come all the way down. Check the major support of this consolidation. This all-time high anchored VWAP may be up in here at that time, and we wind up tagging the all-time high anchored VWAP. All right, and then hopefully we V-bottom valley, like right off of it, and bounce like a red rubber school ball. All right, and back up towards this uptrend line. Again, I don't know whether we get over it. All right, it'd be nice if we get over it and make a higher high. That will be cool. Don't know what's going to happen. All right, I know we kind of extended for a long time up here. All right, so it's going to take probably an equal amount of time for us to cool off. All right, so the amount of time we were extended and hanging out up here, way in the nosebleeds up here, it's probably going to take us an equal amount of time to cool off. That's how hot we were way up here. Almost, we were $20 right here. See this, $5.95. Okay, we were $20 from the all-time highs, which is $6.13. Okay, so you can see we got $20 in one instance. All right, so you can see we were very close to the all-time high. Incredibly close, all right? We were less than $20 away being up here, all right? A couple days ago, okay? So there's SPY. That's a 15-minute. Just want to let you guys see what's going on. Let's go back to the scratch, and we'll hit it on the daily, all right? And I want you guys to see a couple of things, all right? Let's do this. Let's do, first, I want to talk about Wall Street bought the dip, okay? I'm just going to say it. They bought the dip. Wall Street likes a 2-for-1 risk to reward, just like we do, okay? So I'm just going to duplicate this, all right? I know a lot of you have seen it. I'm going to stack it up on top here, okay? That's just one risk, one R, okay? So let's look at where that is, okay? I think I got it already mapped out, yeah. All right, so one risk, one reward brings us close to 670. 670, traders. All right, Wall Street bought the dip. Maybe they're looking for one reward. I'm just saying 670 is one risk, one reward. Okay? One risk, two rewards, which is normal, okay? Brings us up to 764. Okay? That's crazy. All right? I don't know. I mean, it could happen if negotiations go as planned. All right? And then we just wind up selling bundles and bundles of, container ships full of product all over the world. Okay? Not to mention inflation. Where a lot of our companies are getting more revenue because the cost of the goods and services that they're selling has gone up. So they're bringing in more revenue. So with that higher revenue comes, guess what? Usually higher earnings. And when you get higher earnings, well, guess what? You get people are willing to pay more for that product because the earnings are increasing. All right, so we'll see what happens. All right, I'm just saying that is the 2-for-1 risk reward on that, and I just want to show you this monthly tail right here. Okay, I'm going to move this out of the way. Okay, see that tail? That's a big tail. What happens if what happens on the bottom happens on the top? Okay, just saying. Okay, it could happen. If what happens on the bottom happens on the top, you know, maybe we don't get 2 R's, but we come darn close to tagging that second R up there. All right, just saying. All right, that may happen. It may not. I don't know. All right, just saying that, you know, that's what's going on. Okay. Sorry about that. All right, back to the daily chart. Okay, you can see it. I'm gonna pick up a clean one here. Okay, you can see price action making higher lows and higher highs. That's an uptrend. You can see up here it's in the top of the quadrant lines. Okay, that's quadrant 4. Still up here, still bullish in the upper third. So that's still bullish up there. Take this out of the way. Okay, see up here in quadrant 4, that's bullish. In an uptrend, higher low, higher high, over the all-time high anchored VWAP. Okay, so the daily's in an uptrend. All right, daily's in an uptrend. 2-day, not in an uptrend. Okay, 2-day has to take out a high that went over the 17 EMA. Okay, and as far as the 17 EMA goes and highs, we don't have one till we get all the way up here, and that's the all-time high. Okay, so they have to go all the way up there to get a 2-day uptrend going. Right now, they're still in a downtrend, but the good news is they're not moving down. Well, they did today, but you can see for the most part, they're moving up. All right, on the 3-day, same deal. All right, you can see there's no candles over the 17 till you get up here. It's the all-time high. So again, we're in a downtrend, but the good news is we're not moving down. We're moving up. Okay, see that? We're moving up. Weekly chart, same deal. All right. Okay, we're in a downtrend, but we're not moving down. We're moving up. All right. So that's nice. If we take out that high, all right, we will negate the uptrend for all of those. The weekly, the 2-day, and the 3-day. All right. On the monthly chart, okay, you can see right here, we didn't take out this low. That was the first low below the 17. See that huge tail? Now it looks like magnificent right there, right? Okay, so what if that happened on the top? Think about that. All right, so we didn't make a lower low, so the monthly is still in an uptrend, all right? Monthly still in an uptrend. Even though the yellow 3 EMA is underneath the white, we have not made a lower low on the monthly chart. Okay, so monthly chart still in an uptrend. Weekly chart still in a downtrend. 3-day and 2-day both in downtrends too. Okay, so there's SPY. All right, let's take a look at QQQ. All right, QQQ. Let's go to the daily chart. Okay, QQQ just like SPY. Lower high, lower low, closing over that rising 17. Okay, closing up here in, look at that, quadrant 4, that's bullish. Closing over the uptrend line, that's bullish. Closing over the all-time high anchored VWAP, that's bullish. And making higher lows and higher highs. That's an uptrend right there. Okay, so that's bullish still. Even with all the 3 candle pullbacks that we had recently, okay, that's still bullish. As long as it stays in that upper third, okay? Back to SPY, okay? See? Still bullish. As long as it stays in that upper third. Okay, if we come down here, okay, it's not the same thing. Okay, but as long as we hang out in that upper third, we're still bullish up there. Okay, you swing that out just a little bit. Scoot it in right there. Okay, closing over the uptrend line. See? The body, we closed over that. All right, let's take a look at Diamond Dow. Okay, I think everybody got a lower high and a lower low. Okay, lower high, lower low, closing. See the pink line? See the body? We closed over it. Closed over that all-time high anchored VWAP. Actually, that recent high anchored VWAP. This is the double top high anchored VWAP. Okay, closing over that. Closing under the 17. So you notice it's a red dot there. Okay, we closed under a bearish trap. Okay, notice the 3 is underneath the white 8 EMA here. So closed under the trap, under the 17, but over the all-time high anchored VWAP. All right, and over the uptrend line. And we're not in the upper third anymore. Notice that too. See, we're not in the upper third. We were 4 days ago, but we're not now. Okay, we're just neutral right here. We are in an uptrend. We got a higher low and a higher high, so we're still in an uptrend. We're still above the uptrend line. We're still above the downtrend line, and we're still above that double top high anchored VWAP right there. Okay, so there's Diamond Dows. Okay, not bullish, just neutral. All right, but in an uptrend. So it's not looking bad, but I don't like it when they go up and they give it up. All right, because that's just neutral. You go up and you give it up. Okay, you got to go up and hold the higher ground. Okay, probably a little bit difficult today, given today's news. All right, so let's take a look at IWM. Okay, IWM, lower like everybody else, lower high, lower low. Okay, closing under the bearish trap, closing under. Well, it really did close underneath this green dot there, so that's closing under the 17 right there. All right, closing under. See the pink line? That's the all-time high anchored VWAP. Closing under the uptrend line, and who's to say this uptrend line belongs there? Okay, so I mean, it might belong to swing out. All right, we'll see where they put the next V bottom in. All right, it's just there for right now. Who's to say that's where it goes? All right, we'll wait for the next V bottom. Maybe that's it. That's a nice candle right there. Maybe it belongs right there. We'll see. All right, maybe they go lower. I don't know. We'll see what happens, okay? So there's IWM. We're not in the lower third. We're not in the upper third. So we're just neutral right here, okay? But we're in an uptrend because we see the high. We made a higher high, so we're in an uptrend. So higher low, higher high, uptrend, but neutral, okay? Not bearish. All right, because we're not in the lower third, and we're not bullish because we're not in the upper third. Okay, so there's IWM. Last one here, FNGB. Okay, you can see they changed the product on this one. Okay, I wish I could hit undo. Let's try it again. If I go well, they're too far. They don't like that. I'll just leave it right there. All right. Don't know why. All right. Lower high, lower low, just like everybody else. Closing under the trap, but over. See the 17 EMA there. That's the green dots over this all-time high anchored VWAP. Okay, not in the upper third there. Okay, notice we didn't close in the upper third yet. Yesterday we did. Today, no, we didn't. Okay, so we're just neutral today. We did spike up there, but we didn't close up there. Excuse me. All right, so there's FNGB neutral. Got higher lows and higher highs. See the high right there? We got a higher high. So we're in an uptrend. We're over the all-time high anchored VWAP. We were in the bullish zone up here. They are holding this area kind of nicely, if you ask me. All right? It's just they're not high enough to qualify as the upper third. They're over the uptrend line, and they may have to, who knows, pull back to where, see this all-time high anchored VWAP kind of merges with this uptrend line. That might be where they pull back and create the next higher low. That would be a possibility right on top of this gap right here. Right on top of this consolidation right here, right at the midpoint right here. So we could see a pullback to this area. And that would be normal, and that would actually be expected, and that would be that would be healthy to have a rest, all right? A break, a cooling off right here, and kind of, pull back to this uptrend line, and maybe we J-hook off of that and come back up here and visit the bullish upper third again. We'll see, all right? So there's FNGB on the daily chart. That's just neutral and in an uptrend. I'm recovering from a cold. So, I mean, I'm sorry if I cough and you got to listen to it, but I'm trying. I want to help you guys succeed, okay? So, I'm going to muscle through it, all right? All right, so let's look at what happened today on T2122. Look at this. They popped a higher low. Look at that. They popped a higher low, and I thought they were going to be down here in the oversold zone, but no. They ripped and made a higher high up here, even after that gap down. So nice work on T2122, finding its way up into the buyer's chop zone and camping out there for about a good 4 hours into the end of the day. That's T2122. It's a 15-minute chart. Again, got that equal low. I'm going to call it an equal low, not a higher low. Got that equal low, but it's higher than this right here. Okay, and chomping its way back to this buyer's chop zone. Look at this. There's a little inverted head and shoulders going on right here. Okay, you got the head right where I'm circling. Right shoulder, left shoulder. I don't know. We'll see what happens. I'm getting bearish clues and I'm getting bullish clues. Okay, so this is a bullish clue, that inverted head and shoulders. All right, and breaking that neckline right there. All right, we'll see where it goes. Maybe it comes all the way back up. I don't know. FNGB was kind of giving me a little bit of bearish clues right there. Okay, anyways, T2122. That's kind of bullish for today's price action. We wind up back in the buyer's chop zone. All right, let's hit T2123. Okay, you can see right here. All right, so let's look at T2123. Okay, bearish gap down that didn't get filled by the bulls. See that? Okay, there's a little bit of bearish sentiment going on there. We got a bearish gap down today that got filled by the bulls. Okay, so not as weak as we thought. Okay, kind of nice. Notice yesterday, gap down, got the selling, and the bulls rally it right back up. Selling, and then the bulls buy it all right back up. Okay, and we got this bullish gap that seems to have gotten filled over here. All right, but we do have consolidation under consolidation. That's bearish, but we still got to fill this bullish gap here. I don't know if we got that filled. No, we didn't. All right, we're still up over the 200 SMA. Okay, we're still in an uptrend because we're making higher highs and higher lows. We are bull flagging. That looks like a bull flag to me. You know, a move up and over to the right like that, that's a bull flag. I like the idea that they're holding the higher ground as opposed to, going up and then giving it up like that, okay? That doesn't seem to be the case this time, okay? They're kind of going up and moving over to the right, okay? That takes an incredible amount of capital to hold that price structure up there like that, okay? So good work there on T2123. Again, we're still over that rising 200 SMA. All right, let's take a peek at T2123 3-bar price action here. Okay, you can see price action moves up, holding that higher ground. Okay, doesn't look quite as strong as the 15-minute. We are making higher highs. Here's a high. We made a higher high, so we're in an uptrend. We're up over this downtrend line. That's good news. We're up over this 200 SMA. That's good news. That's bullish. All right. And we're consolidating over to the right. So that's good news, all right? And it may be that we have to pull back and cool off a little bit, pick up some spinach, get some mustard, get some energy, re-energize, on the backside of this downtrend line, on the backside of this fading 200 SMA. That would be normal. That would be normal for us to pull back and catch on the backside of these two items right here. That gold downtrend line and that red 200 SMA. That would be normal. All right, so even spiking both of them hard would be normal. Okay, even one day down, pause another day, and then another day back up. Okay, that would be normal. Okay, just saying. Okay, if you want to stick with the trends, you got to expect the pullbacks. Okay, not every candle goes up higher and higher and higher all the time. Okay, sometimes that happens, but that's a very rare occurrence. Okay, see how these go higher and higher. That's nice, but that can't last forever, as you can see right here. Okay, so there's T2123 3 bar. All right, let's take a look at the FNGB. This is FNGB. We looked at this a little earlier. Just look at this. Okay, this is up and over to the right. That's some strength right there. Now this FNGB, this is 10 of the most heavily weighted securities in SPY, in the Nasdaq or QQQ. Okay, so wherever when these move as a pack, all 10 of them in here. Okay, all right, when they move as a pack, as you can see, they are moving as a pack up and over to the right. Okay, they will drag price action from QQQ and SPY right along with them. And it doesn't matter what the other securities are doing in those two indices, okay? These two have that much weight, and they swing a big stick, and they have that much power to hold price structure in an area or drag it up, whether it's kicking and screaming along with it as it goes up higher or lower for that fact. All right, so here's price action up over this all-time high anchored VWAP, kind of melting through the rising 200 here. Okay, but all in all, holding the higher ground, which is a beautiful thing. Got a bullish gap here that still hasn't gotten filled. All right, we got a bearish gap here that still hasn't gotten filled. But all in all, we're holding the higher ground. I like it. Okay, we're up over the uptrend line. We're up over the all-time high anchored VWAP. So looking good there, FNGB. All right, not everything can be perfect. Okay, it's doing the right stuff. And the right stuff has always been, for me, holding the higher ground. Okay, so there's FNGB. All right, let's take a look at a few sectors. Find out where I left off. That's the one. That's not the one. That's the one. Let's take a look at XLE. All right, on XLE, what do we got? Higher low, higher high. Maybe that's an inside day. That looks like an inside day. Okay, closing under the trap, under the 17. They're in an uptrend, okay? Just not a very strong uptrend. They're still in the lower third, so that's bearish. They are in an uptrend. They're still caught underneath downtrend line 1, that's that gold line. Downtrend line 2, that's that other gold line. 12-month high anchored VWAP, that's a pink line. Okay, and underneath the midpoint here. Okay, they're in an uptrend. It's just taking them for a while to get up there. All right, they're bearish. Okay, they're in the bearish lower third. They were up in the neutral, but they gave it up. So now they're back to bearish again. Okay, so that's XLE. Not much happening there for XLE. Let's take a look at USO. Okay, so here's USO. No higher highs here. That was the high to beat. So they're still in a downtrend. See, they got a low here. They made a lower low. All right, they made a higher low here, but we still haven't got the higher high. So we're still stuck in that downtrend. So there's USO, again, kind of just like XLE in the lower third. All right, so that's bearish and in a downtrend, unlike XLE in an uptrend. All right, underneath this 3-year high anchored VWAP, that's post-COVID high right there. Okay, you can see we're underneath that. We're in the lower third. We're bearish. We're in a downtrend. Not getting much love from the USO. Let's take a look at UNG. UNG price action here. Got a higher low and a higher high. Okay, closing inside this bearish trap under the 17 EMA. Okay, we've yet to make a higher high, so we're still stuck in the downtrend. Okay. Here's a low. We made a lower low, so that puts us in a downtrend. Okay, we have to make a higher high. First high to take out is right here. We haven't done it yet. We have a higher low. Maybe we can take out this high right here, all right, and create a higher low and a higher high, negate the uptrend, negate the downtrend and convert the uptrend, okay? We're still underneath downtrend line 1, okay? We're just barely closing over this 12-month high anchored VWAP. It's a very low bar to set right there, okay? It's kind of low. Look how low it is. It even drags into the bearish zone down here in the lower third, okay? You move up, you give it up, that's neutral. You move up, you give it up and more, you're bearish. Right now, UNG just neutral, okay? Not in the lower third, but still in a downtrend, still under the downtrend line, just barely closing over the all-time, that 12-month high anchored VWAP right there. So there's UNG. Not much love coming out of UNG, kind of showing us, if you look at it, head and shoulders. There's a head, right shoulder, left shoulder. Are we coming down to revisit the lows? I don't know. We'll see what happens, all right? So there's UNG. All right, let's take a look at GLD. Okay, GLD up here in quadrant 4, that's bullish. GLD in a downtrend because there's a low. They made a lower low, all right? Price action up here over the pink line, that's the all-time high anchored VWAP. Up here in quadrant 4, that's bullish. Up here over the uptrend line, that's bullish. Closing over a bullish trap and over the 17, also bullish. So we're bullish, but in a downtrend. Remember that downtrend is just a label, okay? So look at it, what it's doing. It's moved up, and it's holding the higher ground. That's my favorite look when I see a chart. When I see something move up and hold the higher ground. It's just going through some consolidation. May have to go through this for, who knows, maybe another 20, 30 days. We'll see what happens, okay? It would be normal for it to consolidate up here for that amount of time, maybe even 3 months, all right? But as long as it holds that higher ground, it's looking good. Okay, what about, I just did silver, all right? And I can do Tesla before the close, all right? So there's gold. Oh, gonna do silver now. Gonna do silver right now. Silver's in an uptrend. There's a high. They made a higher high. Silver's over the downtrend line. Silver's over the 6-month high anchored VWAP. I'm sorry, Mel. I was just gonna do silver. Coming into it. Just hang on. It was coming. All right. So here's silver over the 6-month high anchored VWAP. This is a 12-year high anchored VWAP. Okay, as well, okay, because that right there is a 12-year high. So that's a 12-year high anchored VWAP as well. Price action, closing over the trap, over the 17. Hey, look, up here in quadrant 4, see that? Quadrant 4, that's bullish. Okay, bullish, and in an uptrend, and over the 6-month high anchored VWAP, and over the downtrend line. Nice work for silver. Silver getting it done. All right, let's take a look at, what do we want to look at? We looked at XLE, didn't we? Yeah, we looked at XLE. Let's look at SMH. All right, SMH, no longer in the upper third, so it's neutral. Still in an uptrend, higher low, higher high. Closing over the all-time high anchored VWAP, that's the pink line. Closing over the downtrend line, that's the gold line. Okay, but just not in the upper third anymore. It was, but they gave it up. You move up, you give it up, you lose it. All right, so that's just neutral. So it's neutral, but still in an uptrend, still showing shots, still showing signs of bullishness up here. Okay, just neutral right now, though. Okay, it's probably going through a rest. Look, like I said, look at the pitch of this trajectory right there. Okay, it's almost straight up. Okay, it's gonna take them a while to rest from what they just did. All right, it takes an incredible amount of energy to move price that far, that fast, okay, and hold the highs up there, okay? So it's going to take a little while. That would be normal, all right? Maybe even a pullback. Maybe down here, all right? That would be normal. Or maybe back to this plateau right there. That would be normal. Or back to the backside of this downtrend line, okay? That would be normal, okay? Just saying that would be normal to see that happen, all right? Putting in a higher low somewhere over here. That would be normal. Okay, SMH. Let's take a look at big brother to the SMH is XLK. Okay, XLK over the uptrend line. Over the all-time high anchored VWAP. That's a pink line. Up here in the upper third, that's bullish. Okay, making higher lows and higher highs. That's an uptrend. So uptrend bullish. XLK. XLF doing the same deal. Okay, up here in the upper third, that's bullish. Higher low, higher high, that's an uptrend. Over the all-time high anchored VWAP, that's bullish. All right. Again, like I said, in the upper third, that's bullish. XLF. So technology's looking good. Financials are looking good. Okay, T2123 is kind of looking good. And we saw FNGB, right? That's a bull flag holding that upper ground. Like that. That's looking good, okay? Okay, maybe we don't melt off as far as we think we will, all right? Maybe we just need to rest a little bit, okay? Maybe that's all there is to it. We'll see. All right, let's go back over here. Okay, so that's XLF. Let's take a look at IYT. Okay, IYT. In an uptrend, because they made a higher high. Okay, price action at the midpoint right here. So not in the upper third. They were in through here. Notice they were closing over the all-time high anchored VWAP, but they're not anymore. Okay, they were up here in the upper third and bullish, but they're not anymore. You move up and you give it up, that's neutral. Hence, we're right here at the midpoint, we're neutral. You go down, you give it up, that's neutral, okay? Same thing, okay? So there's IYT. Closing underneath the all-time high anchored VWAP, just neutral, but still in an uptrend, all right? Let's draw a trend line in here, just see what it looks like. Okay, we're still obeying the trend line. That's not bad. And who's to say that's where it goes? You know, maybe they need to rest for a week and we wind up kicking this thing out to here. Okay? That would be normal. Don't be surprised if, you know, the pullback's a little deeper than you wanted or the rest is a little bit longer than you expected. Okay? Give it some space. Give it the time that it needs to regenerate energy to the upside. Okay? Maybe waiting for the good news, okay? Maybe we get good news and we J-hook out of here making new highs. So there's IYT. And Mel wants to take a look at Tesla. Okay, Tesla's bullish last time I saw it. You know, Tesla's still bullish, Mel. Okay, it's holding the higher ground. See that grinder box up there? Okay, notice, excuse me. Okay, see the quad lines? Where is it? It's up in quadrant 4. That's bullish. Okay? Let's take the quad lines off. That's bullish up there. Okay? Taking the quad lines off. We're holding the higher ground. That's bullish. We do have some turbulence up above here. Okay? But they are grinding away at overhead supply, which is good news. All right? It's much better than watching price structure move up and, peak out, and come all the way back. They're not giving it up. Notice that, okay? They're going up, holding the higher ground. Going up, holding the higher ground. See that? So this is bullish right here, okay? They just got some stuff to work through. What I would pick for a target would be the top side of this this area right through here. See where that valley between the two peaks hits right there, that double bottom? I would look for price to probably move up to there. All right? That's where I would take some profits for me, and then I would wait to see if it can consolidate on top of it. All right? I'd leave a trailer on to let that thing run in case it just doesn't want to rest and consolidate up there. But I would definitely take some profits coming into that valley between the two peaks. That will most likely be a target almost every time. Almost every time right there. So you got some turbulence right overhead here, okay? Give it some time, give it some space. It's gotten up there, it's still holding the higher ground. Maybe it needs 2 weeks, maybe it needs 3 weeks, all right, to work out all of that overhead supply right there, okay? So Tesla's looking good. Right now, if we draw back and we include all of this, let's just look at all that. We're back at the midpoint, okay? See this right here, this move? We're back at the midpoint. We're no longer in the bearish zone, okay? We're actually up over this all-time high anchored VWAP. That's good news right there, okay? Anytime you see price coming over the all-time high anchored VWAP, that's institutional buying right there, because this represents what average people, or the average that it was bought and sold for, okay? And you can see it's selling for more than what it should be selling for. So that right there that's bullish right up there. You're just going to have to work through a lot of this overhead supply right through here, okay? And once you get on top of that, I think you're free sailing to come visit these breakdown candle highs right here, 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 and here. Okay, Tesla's looking good. I like it. All right, you got the video anyways. All you got to do is just say, hey, let me write this video down, 523, and you can come back and watch it. All right. So that's it for me for today. I'm going to start my 3-day weekend. All right. I want to thank everybody for being here with me today. Hope you guys have a wonderful long weekend. I hope you all stay safe. Okay. Hope you all stay off the road if you can. All right. Hope you have enjoyable family visits. And let's not forget why we're having this day. All right. It's for all of those that served. All right. And gave us the right. Okay. And fought for our freedom. All right. So let's remember all of those people that are not with us today. All of our fathers and mothers that served. Okay. All right, everybody. Have a wonderful weekend. I want to thank all the vets out there. Appreciate it. We love you. All right. And we'll see you guys all back on Tuesday at 8 o'clock. Thank you, everybody. Have a great weekend.